over to George as well. So George, as we know, is a senior consultant at NetSuite. And George, as well, in your previous or former career, you were an accountant, a financial controller. You actually did the auditing role, right? So you've got a lot of really, really great experience from that angle. With your kind of accounting and auditing hat on, when you were working with businesses, where did you see most of the bleeding cash coming from when it came to supplier management?
Yeah, I think it stems from a lot of what Daniel and Krupa have said already around just control being the key point. You know, if you don't have control about where you're spending things or who you're spending it with, you might find, you know, businesses might find that if they've not reviewed those vendor records or lists for a long time, they might be spending money where they don't need to. They might be spending money twice in terms of, you know, with one supplier for one thing, with another supplier for another thing. They may not have control over the stuff that they're buying as well. So they might be, you know, buying it from one person at one rate when they actually could get a much better preferential rate from somewhere else, which then leads into the second piece, which is probably around relationship management. You know, if you can't keep track of where you are spending and when you are spending and when you should be spending stuff, it's very, very difficult to then build those relationships with those suppliers so that, you know, you might be getting fined for late payment, or they may not be giving you those preferential rates potentially. So by potentially sacrificing a little bit of working capital up front and maybe paying suppliers a little bit earlier or investing into systems that allow you that visibility, you're probably going to save a lot more in the back end because you're going to be getting potentially better rates. You're going to be spending less overall on stuff you don't need. And then of those suppliers that you do end up choosing, it's around, again, that risk management strategy as well. So you're going to want to make sure that all of your due diligence is done on those particular suppliers. So, you know, if one of those suppliers has a data breach or a cyber breach or something like that, they might get fined. Some of those fines might get passed on to you as a business, you know, and so you're then bearing the cost of not doing your due diligence up front. And then the final piece, which I think we'll probably talk around later, is around what you mentioned there, around where all of that data is stored and the ease of getting to that data, and therefore the cost implications later down the line. So if you know, when you have your statutory audit at the end of the year, as easy as you can make it for those auditors to check that information, they're going to love that. They're going to spend less time with you as a business, and therefore probably, hopefully, your audit fees are going to be a bit lower as well.